Good afternoon. Welcome. Hello.
It's good to see you all. It's good to see you all. I'm trying not to say our normal, my normal.
We're back.
Introduction, because we don't want to upset people in Pembury, and so it's good that it's another week.
I can't believe it. It's another week. Rattled past, ready to go.
And we're in the middle of half term here in our part of the world, and you've got all your children at home.
I have.
Causing chaos, no doubt.
Probably. The other side of a door, or two doors now, so hopefully we won't hear them.
That's okay. They are tied to a chair, I'm told, but for safeguarding issues, we'll edit that. All right. Well, Transfiguration.
Yeah, Sunday before Lent.
Yes, Transfiguration. It's one of 3 attempts to hit it, as we get each year, it seems, in the Anglican lectionary.
I've never understood why we have to preach 3 times on the Transfiguration every year. I think there must be other bits of scripture, but anyway, there we are.
I've run out of Transfiguration sermons.
It's going to be a very quick video then, isn't it?
It could well be. It could well be. Yes.
Shall we share the reading then, for those who aren't 100% sure what the Transfiguration is?
I think it would be very good of you to read it.
Excellent. So we have, because we're in Year A for the lectionary, we're in Matthew's Gospel, and so this is Matthew's account of the Transfiguration. So Matthew chapter 17, verses 1 to 8. 6 days later, Jesus took with him Peter and James and his brother John, and led them up a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them, and his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became dazzling white. Suddenly there appeared to them Moses and Elijah talking with him. Then Peter said to Jesus, "Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, I will make 3 dwellings here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." While he was still speaking, suddenly a bright cloud overshadowed them, and from the cloud a voice said, "This is my Son, the Beloved. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him." When the disciples heard this, they fell to the ground and were overcome by fear. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, "Get up and do not be afraid." And when they looked up, they saw no one except Jesus himself alone. Where does it take you?
It takes me with dread that it's the Transfiguration again. Is the honest answer. And I've been looking for hymns to go with Sunday service, and I can only find one, which is "God of glory, God of grace, show the brightness of your face." I couldn't think of anything else.
Christ whose glory fills the sky?
Yeah, we had that the other week. The organist didn't.
Shine, Jesus, shine?
No, thank you.
Okay.
No, I'm afraid being around when that was first written, it was oversung.
It was, but I remember it being the first worship song, rather than a hymn, that I ever learnt to play on the piano, and I played and played and played it, and I think it probably had quite a profound effect on me as a worshipper.
If not driving your parents up the wall.
Anyway, I have lots to thank Graham Kendrick for.
I'm not, yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, we'll move away. The thing I'm always struck by this passage is how it's a second go at the baptism.
Yep.
So it's the second time that God affirms Jesus' identity and his purpose.
Yes.
Because it's what happens at baptism. When Jesus is baptised, the voice comes from heaven, "This is my Son, the Beloved, with whom I am well pleased." And now we have, "This is my Son, the Beloved, with him I am well pleased. Listen to him."
Absolutely.
So it's a confirmation and affirmation of Jesus' identity, his purpose, his calling, and the fact that the disciples need to follow him. So.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because what always jumps out of me straight away, as you know, is the stupidity of the disciple wanting to build houses up a hill, which is a shame, really.
You're harsh on Peter.
I am. I like him.
I think it's about him wanting to stay there in the glorious moment of Transfiguration, and he doesn't know what else to do.
In the rapture.
Well, yeah. It's like those perfect moments, aren't they, where you want to sort of freeze frame them and stay there forever.
Yeah, I've never wanted to build a house though in that moment.
No, but then our Old Testament scholars would tell us it was a link to the Festival of Booths.
Oh, absolutely.
But I don't really know enough about that, so
no.
Showing my ignorance.
But no, I agree with you. I think it is that affirmation. Again, that who is Jesus but God's Son, and as with any parent, he's my son. I'm pleased with him.
Yeah.
And I recommend him to you. And listen to him. I think that's key, and I think that's really where my preaching on Sunday is going to begin. Listen to him. How do we listen to Jesus? Do we listen to Jesus, or are we too busy talking at him or to him? So yes, so there are many ways of approaching the Transfiguration, thankfully, and we will get 3 attempts at it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to think about being an eyewitness to something.
Yeah.
Because Peter, James, and John get this really special moment, which the other disciples don't get, and it made me think about Thomas, of course, who at the story of the resurrection misses out on his moment of meeting Jesus and says he won't believe until he's seen him. And then, of course, there's that amazing moment where Jesus and Thomas then meet, and Jesus says to him, do you only believe because I've shown you? You've seen me. Blessed are those who believe even though they don't see. And, I just think, gosh, those disciples who missed the Transfiguration would be fed up. But, of course, Jesus tells them not to tell anyone. And it says in Matthew, until after he'd risen.
Yeah, I think as we know, it is the one story that appears in all of the Gospels, but it's placed in different places. It
does come
in 2 of them.
Yeah.
But this don't tell anybody. Is a thing that Jesus says often. It's normally to other people, but this time it's to the disciples.
Often when people have been healed, doesn't he? Yeah. He says, don't tell anyone that.
And then, of course, you've got the connection, which greater scholars than myself, I would accuse that of you, of course, but greater scholars than myself would be able to say, what is the importance of Moses and Elijah being in this story? Is it just simply, as a lot of us jump to, that it's a matter of bringing Jesus and the law and the prophecies together under one umbrella at that point in time, and that the disciples are being expected to see that maybe for their future ministry and whatever Jesus has got ready for them, which they perhaps don't know yet. Is this the beginning to say that I have come to fulfill, not abolish, the law and the prophets, as we heard 2 weeks ago, wasn't it, in the Gospel reading, and the disciples learning about this.
And that's something that Paula Gooder was showing when she was reflecting on her talk at St Paul's Cathedral about the Gospel narratives for the birth of Jesus. And she was saying, that to give these stories authenticity, the way the Jewish historians would do that was to place them in the past and set them there, so that the authority came from what's happened in history and then seeing how they relate to each other. And of course, seeing Jesus up the mountain with Moses and Elijah of important men in the history of Israel gives him that authenticity. But of course, the most authenticity comes from the voice of God.
It does. And I think in the most Jewish of all the Gospels, which is Matthew, he's going to try, I assume he would want to emphasise that importance of placing Jesus in the history of what
the faith,
of
what's
what
coming,
has gone on before.
That he is the one, the Son of Man, as prophesied and talked about. So that's all lovely and shiny.
It is.
What difference does it make to us as disciples in the 21st century?
Well, for a first stab at that, answering that question, listening is important for disciples. Doing what Jesus perhaps tells us, i.e. don't tell anybody in this case. And Jesus gives us plenty of hints, but we're, as human beings, and as people who know better than Jesus often, of course.
We've made him in our image.
Yeah, we're prone to not perhaps take his wise guidance and counsel. And so as disciples, what were the original disciples as they were sent out? We discussed that last week. They were sent out in pairs, very rarely alone. They were sent out with a quite clear mandate of what to do. Go and into towns, knock on doors. If they invite you in, stay. If they don't, shake the dust, move on. There's plenty more to heal the sick, forgive sins, baptise in the name of Jesus Christ. I think that's a fairly good lead into what disciples are still called to do today. And whilst we may not have the immediate power that Jesus gave to the disciples to heal the sick, there are certainly incidences of modern day disciples curing and healing and helping. So listen to what Jesus has to say to us as the church, particularly in our own locality. Be prepared to act upon it, and most importantly, don't forget to return to Jesus in prayer to seek further guidance and counsel. Otherwise, we just become a church that sings hymns on Sunday and goes home again.
Raises money.
And raises money.
I think, yeah, and I think the thing that stuck with me is about expecting to meet God. You know, he took them up the mountain and they saw him transfigured, and they heard the voice of God, and they had a theophany, a moment of meeting with God.
They did.
And in our diocese, we start our meetings and get-together with what has renewed your hope this week. Mm-hmm. The idea being, where have you seen God at work? Where have you met God this week? And for us as disciples, where are we seeing God at work? Unlikely, I guess, to have met God on top of a mountain today or this week, but maybe. But where have we seen God, met God, heard God, seen God revealed this week?
It's all according to what we see as the mountain, isn't it?
Ooh, yeah, you're getting very metaphysical on me.
I am. I try not to, but yeah, it's very rare in our part of Dorset for us to find a mountain to go and meet God. So True. What is our mountain that we meet God upon?
Although we are currently in the highest village in Dorset.
There is dispute, but yes, yeah.
Near the highest hill in Dorset.
Yeah, Pilton Pen.
Or Lewiston Hill. But anyway, yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, what is our mountain? That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Our mountain could be as simple as recognising Jesus in what we're doing today. Yeah. Because there's got to be some recognition of what we're doing as spreading the gospel. I believe Jesus is here with us. I wouldn't have started this whole process 14 weeks ago if I didn't believe it wasn't a moment for us and maybe others through what we're trying to do to meet Jesus for themselves afresh each week. And so what is our mountain? You know, and I think that's key. I remember, though, on my visit to the Holy Land, I realised the longer since we've been, the more profound maybe it had an effect on me than I realised at the time. The day we went to the Mountain of the Transfiguration, which of course has a huge church on the top of it today, one of the things that the guide said to us when we were coming down, he said, "Did any of you meet Jesus and Moses and Elijah for yourself up there today?" And we all kind of looked, and he said, "Perhaps you didn't go up expecting to."
Oh, interesting.
And that puts a lot of what I think, the mountain, what is our mountain? Yeah. Do we, when we set out to do something like this or whatever it is, are we expecting to encounter God, Jesus, in what we're doing?
And I hope the answer is yes.
So do I. So do I. Because if not, then we're already starting at a disadvantage. Because we deeply tell other people and deeply believe, or hopefully we believe, that God is all around us, everywhere, and involved in all we do. Yes. But are we really convicted in our own inner being about that? I'll leave you to think about it, dear viewer. Are you expecting and hoping to encounter God, Jesus, for yourself today and every day? We'd love to have feedback on this. Tell us. Where do you meet God? Where is your mountain? And if you went up and met him, would you want to build 2 houses there as well? But never mind, that's Peter's thought.
Always.
Throughout. It is.
There we are. It's been nice to see you.
Particularly, can I just say, we've got new lighting today. You may notice a better quality. I've never seen so much technology from our communications expert. We've got cameras and lights, and we've been given talks about how to use it.
And we forgot to leave a pause at the beginning.
We did forget to leave a pause. So if we left a pause now, you could cut it into the thing, couldn't we?
We have enjoyed being with you this afternoon, and we'll be here next week as well. You can find us at our website, beaminsterteamchurches.org, on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. Do join in the debates, get in contact with us. We'd love to chat to you. Take care. Have a good week. Bye.
Bye now.